Katia and Jennifer. Katia, can you please introduce yourself and let us know your role in your company?
Yes, hi, thank you for having me. Name is Katia Colston. I am with Central Garden and Pet. I lead e-com sales for the company on the garden side of the business. So I have a counterpart that leads those efforts on the pet side. So between the two of us, we cover garden, Central and Pet. And I've been with Central for a little bit over a year. Prior to that, I've been with Kellogg's for 8 years, also e-com sales, and then before that, other CPGs. I won't bore you, but 20 plus years of this.
Thank you.
I'm Jennifer. I am the D2C manager at Ollie. We are a gummy vitamin company. We were acquired by Unilever about 3 years ago. I head up the direct-to-consumer business, so definitely have an angle on the conversations that we have here. I know a lot of us kind of run the broader business, but definitely have that direct-to-consumer view of how we look at customers and how we look at customer interactions.
Great, thank you. So let's talk about your media mix and the evolving omni-consumer journey. So Jennifer, if you can talk about your media mix.
Sure, yeah. So, it's tricky. Again, like I definitely have the view of, yeah, I would like to spend all the media on direct-to-consumer, but unfortunately I don't get it that way. We definitely started as a brick and mortar business. If you've ever been to Target, we pretty much own that first end cap when you walk in and you turn right. So having brick and mortar partners and spending with brick and mortar partners is a huge part of our business and our relationship building in brick and mortar, Walmart and Target and Walgreens. Those relationships are key to our growing business. So I think when we take our whole budget and we start breaking it down, those relationships are very, very important, and we have to continue to spend there. The other key is that our digital business is the fastest growing piece of the overall business. So spending there is also really important. It's also the place where you can see the clearest ROI. As we all know, you see what goes in, you see what comes out. It's easiest to measure that household penetration. It's easiest to see where you're getting exactly the most bang for your buck. I think especially coming out of COVID, where we saw very clearly how important the omnichannel landscape has become, even with Instacart and all of those other new landscapes. I think it's really made it more challenging to budget. It's made that media mix more of an art form and less of science than I think it used to be. But, again, it's like different times of year, especially for us being in the vitamin segment. Our Q1 is kind of our Q4 for a lot of other brands. And so that's really where we focus a lot of our spend. So it really depends on the time of year for us, what our mix looks like. I think it's a continual challenge, and it probably is for a lot of brands, and just how you kind of keep that feeling fair, and how you keep those relationships healthy, and how you keep that money flowing in a way that feeds your KPIs as you set them throughout the year.
Great, thanks. Katia, if you can also cover on your media mix.
Yes, Central Garden and Pet has historically been focused on brick and mortar, right? We're a lawn and garden and pet company, a CPG company. Over the past few years, we went from not even being on the Fortune list of the companies to being on the Fortune 700 companies, and number 2 in pet, and number 2 in lawn and garden in the United States. So we quickly realized that there is an channel that we need to be very competitive and we also very similarly but differently approach this, because we have these huge retailers, Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, that have been staples of our industry, that are also trying to be everywhere for everyone, for the shopper. And uniformity is not the way to be successful in this case, because you have to approach it differently depending on the retailer. And then, of course, pure play, Amazon is yet another channel for everyone to be very aggressive at. So it brings a lot of complexity. When I started, I can relate to some of the speakers here on the stage before me. It's overwhelming, you know, the budgeting in general and how it's been done in these CPG companies changes over time, right? The lines get blurred on where the budgeting allocation comes for online media spend. Those lines I see continue to be blurred, and so we need to strategize and proactively plan and communicate out everything internally as well as to the shareholders.
Talking about budgets, how do you know where to invest? Do you invest do you invest more in digital or in store? How do you find the right balance when you think about this?
Well, it is, like I said, uniformity is not the way to do things for us as a CPG company. So investing does depend. So, for example, take Walmart. Walmart is trying or going towards this hybrid model, right? They're taking their general merchandise towards the marketplace, right? The new marketplace that they're launching. So they're asking for their suppliers to support that. And we, of course, will, you know, invest to be there with Walmart and maybe, hopefully, and potentially use it as an A/B testing, right? The platform where we can learn what shopper responds to, what sizes, what products they're looking for, and then take it elsewhere. So the investment in one retailer or one channel can be translated, right, into the others. Similarly with online media. Online media, this was our first year. 2022 was the first year we really invested. And we brought in partners like Sky, for example, to help us because there was no infrastructure internally for us to optimize different search campaigns. And I believe that was a huge step in the right direction because we were able to report back to the leadership, you know, to the brand leaders who were supporting and investing in the retail media, how it's doing, what it means for them. Again, educating on them on what does conversion mean. You know, these are marketers that have been around for decades and may not understand, do clicks and impressions do anything? You know, well, that depends, right? If you want to grow awareness and brand building, yes, but if you're looking to grow your top line POS sales, no, we should look to conversion. We should look to the ROAS, right, KPIs. So educating internally and also, you know, trying to make the dollar stretch as much as possible.
That's great. That's great. Jennifer, if you can also speak about where you invest your dollars and how do you find the right mix?
Yeah, I think it's really tough. I think we're still learning too. Again, I think it is sometimes you have to spend that money in brick and mortar to be a good partner. I think sometimes you have to spend that money to test and learn. I think that's a great point. And sometimes you lose, and that's okay. Because if you're learning, you're not losing. I think that's an important thing. And sometimes I think an important thing is if you have a program, like let's say again, we're in the vitamin segment. Subscription is a really important program for us. If you have a program and you don't like it, if it's not the program of your dreams, if it's not giving you what you want, it's okay to take a minute, to stop, to take it apart and start over and rebuild the program of your dreams. That's something we've had to do in the last year, is really kind of dismantle a program and rebuild it the way we want it to be. And that is an investment, and that can be expensive. But I think in this environment, it's really important to make the long-term plays and not the short-term plays. And make sure, and again, you know, you can't make 1,000 long-term plays at once, but to really prioritize around the things that are the big investments that drive your business forward. You know, for us, subscription drives every KPI that we have. It drives lifetime customer value. It drives our average cart value. I mean, like, you get more subscribers, you drive every number in your business. So those are the places where we invest. And sometimes that's not investing in advertising, it's investing in infrastructure, it's investing in functionality. And you just have to try to make the right decisions in the times that you have to make those decisions.
Great, thanks. So something that CPG marketers have been struggling with is connecting, for example, if a consumer goes 1 month in store, they'll make a purchase, and then the next month they'll make the purchase online. So how to connect the customer journey and know that you're reaching the same person. So I know that, Katya, when we spoke, you mentioned that one of your retailers does this for you. So if you can give us some detail.
Yes, I believe you're referencing having the data, right?
Yeah.
Some retailers have rich data that allows us to look at the path to purchase or understand better the path to purchase within the lawn and garden category, especially. In this case, it's, again, Walmart and Home Depot. They do a good job at letting us understand how the shopper shops. So basically, we can break out the sales that we have with them between, was this purchase shipped to their home, or is it click and collect, or BOPIS, right, buy online, pick up at store, or was it a same-day delivery purchase? First, we try to separate those, right, and try to identify what items were purchased with which platform, and that ultimately drives our portfolio management and assortment analysis, and that is a huge topic all on its own. That is one of my biggest bets for next year, portfolio management, because ultimately portfolio management it's a foundation of e-com, right? Not every item we have needs to be sold online, right? So not every item Walmart carries maybe needs to be on their marketplace. Right? They want to have it, to test it, but for us as a CPG company that has to watch the cost, right? Watch the ROI, we have to be very smart, and something you mentioned, go back, Jennifer, to that lifetime customer value, right, of an item, and really look at an item. What is the profitability of this item for this particular channel? It will never compare. The profitability of an item on Amazon will never compare to the profitability of an item at Walmart. So again, going back and using whatever data you can get from that retailer to educate your team, to educate your brand, to educate your research and development, and build those longer term plans to have the right portfolio mix.
Okay. No worries, no worries. So that it's actually a good segue to my next question on data. So Jennifer, when we spoke about how the data you use helps with your product development and loyalty. So if you can just give the audience a few details on that.
Sure, yeah. So, I operate Ollie.com. It's our owned channel. It's our primary e-commerce channel. And it's really a special thing when a customer comes to Ollie.com to shop directly from our brand. You can buy Ollie at Target, you can buy it on Amazon, you can buy it literally anywhere. And when a customer comes to us to buy sleep gummies directly from us, it really means something. And number one, we get that data, that's great, but it really says a lot about that customer's brand loyalty. And we really use that data to provide the best possible customer experience that we can. So we talked about personalization this morning. I thought that was so awesome because that's really our biggest priority in the next 2 years of our D2C roadmap. And it can mean a lot of things. It can mean like, oh, you send an SMS and it starts with, hey, Jennifer, blah, 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 blah. That's personalization. Having, real-time recommendations on site for products, that's personalization. Having personalized bundles that customers can build and subscribe to, that's personalization. And even, ultimately someday soon, I really hope, we'll be able to build like 3D gummies that have the three kind of, products that you like built into one 3D printed gummy that you take one, and, that's personalization. So I think all of those things are on the roadmap for us, and that's the data that, number one, we need to do that. But in addition to that, we want to be able to provide the best possible experience that we can, so that those customers do keep coming back to us on Ollie.com. Like Target can't do that, Walmart can't do that. We can do that. We can continue to provide an experience that other retailers can't, and we also can provide some surprise and delight. We can send swag. We do that a lot for like our top 500, top 1,000 customers. We have a loyalty program. You know, we do a lot of other little surprise and delight things for our subscribers. And we just try to use that information to make it the most delightful experience that we can possibly create on our own channels. So that for us is really the priority. Like, definitely just using it to make it a better experience for our customers.
Great, thank you. So when we also spoke, you briefly touched on Twitch and newer platforms. So if you can also.
Yeah, I was so glad to hear Chobani talk about Twitch this morning. You know, we're in the vitamin segment. It's highly regulated. One of our most popular product lines is women's health, which is super regulated just because of the nature of the product and some of the words and keywords that are associated with the product line that, frankly, Amazon will not let you advertise. Google, Facebook, they will not let you use the word vagina. They will not let you use like anatomical words in advertisements. And it's really, really, really frustrating because there are a lot of other words you can use, but you cannot use like female anatomy words, even in like a very scientific setting. One of the things we found is that Twitch is an awesome advertising platform where you can. It's one of like the last unregulated advertising platforms. And not unregulated is not really the right term, but they're very open. We've had a lot of success advertising there. We've definitely had some struggles with kind of like the more traditional ad platforms like Snapchat and Instagram. And we've had a lot of success with Twitch. We've had a lot of success with like the Shop app. We're on Shopify. So the Shop app, the Klarna app, like we've definitely had to kind of like pivot and sort of work around a lot of these traditional advertising spaces and look for places where what used to be called pseudo-pharmaceuticals, and now I think they're more referred to like nutraceuticals. Anything with the word melatonin kind of gets regulated, that sort of thing. We've looked for alternative channels where we could kind of advertise more freely, and Twitch has really been a great platform for us to advertise on. So if you're in an industry where there is a lot of regulation around that type of thing, I would definitely recommend kind of taking a shot at Twitch.
Great, thanks. Do I have time to ask one more?
Yeah, yes, you can ask one more.
Okay.
Like the
wrap-up question.
But then anyone has a question, obviously, can jump in afterwards.
Great. So this is the wrap-up question. What are you, Katya? What are you looking forward to in 2023? And if you can share any, like the biggest lesson learned this year for you.
Well, I mentioned the portfolio management is a big one. Understanding what items need to go into what channels and what's the profitability of each. The supply chain, improvements in supply chain. Supply chain has not been a priority for CPG companies over the past decade or so. Not the same. Not in an omni sense, right? And now companies are looking at supply chain strategically and looking at it as an asset to the company, not as it's one more thing we have to figure out. But how do we meet the shopper where they are? Like, for example, at Lowe's, at Lowes.com, we just launched this past year. It was a huge undertaking, but we've launched and are still improving on a dropship campaign or program where we would ship the bags, of fertilizer or different grass seed to the shopper that usually would get it on the shelf, or would order and then would have to wait a week to get that bag. We would directly shop it to that consumer in 2 days. So it's not a huge bag, so it's the same size as if they were buying it in the store. But how do we do that that's still profitable for the company, right? And other supply chain expansion of DFCs, all the retailers are doing that. So that's a big one. Portfolio management, supply chain, digital shelf continues to be number one, priority. It's fundamental. We have to have content that's great content, but continues to be improved and optimized and specific to the retailer, whether it's Amazon's PDP or retail or Walmart's PDP. So those, and the last one I will mention is team building, talent harvesting, and basically bringing people from inside the company and bringing them into the e-com space, right? Educating them and developing their skills and growing their careers in this omni-channel environment, that's huge for me personally and for the company. So a lot of efforts will go into that in this environment.
Thank you. Jennifer, plans for 2023 and biggest lesson learned this year?
Well, I think we're all, a little nervous with the economy the way it is. I think for us, again, we're definitely doubled down on things we know drive revenue, things we know drive customer experience. Subscriptions, of course, is a huge piece of our business, so we're really investing there. We're looking at automatic replenishment models to just make sure that we're doing replenishment triggering in a less pressured way than sort of the traditional subscription model as well. Infrastructure improvements, and really just, I think in a general sense, one of our biggest priorities is just putting the control in the customer's hand. I think when you're facing economic uncertainty, making sure the customers feel like they're the ones in control in a D2C world is really critical to the business, to make sure that they understand that you're there when, especially like, we are a vitamin company, but we kind of almost market ourselves more like a beauty brand in like a very health and wellness sort of space. And we just want customers to make sure that they understand that we're here for them, we're here when they need us, and that we're here for their wellness, and that we will continue to be whenever we're there. They're ready for us.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions for these ladies?
Hey, Jennifer, Erica Reed, General Mills Data Strategy. One of my questions is around your Twitch advertising. So what is the objective there? Is it driving awareness or is it driving loyalty subscriptions?
It started as an awareness play. It really is to drive conversions. There are a lot of women on Twitch, and specifically for our women's health line, we've seen a lot of success. I was just telling someone, one of my good friends was a marketing manager for the company Adam and Eve. I don't know if you're familiar with the company. I will let you Google it if you're not. And that is their single highest ad revenue channel that they've ever advertised on. And that's really what I heard and was like, we should do that. So for us, I think our women's health line was the line we struggled the most trying to find the right ad channel for. And that's why we pursued it. And truly like straight up lower funnel conversion, ringing the register, awesome. Definitely some awareness there as well. But we really were looking at it for just like, let's make some money. Let's drive some sales. And that's what we got out of it. But I could definitely see it working more for awareness as well, too, if you were looking to do something more upper funnel.
Okay, and I'm going to cut off the questions here. So the ladies, again, will be wandering about, so ask if you want to then. But thank you, all three of you, Jennifer, Katya, and Barb.